Hey folks, welcome out to the Shadow Zone for our pilot podcast with me and my companion, Shadow Jester. It's been the show, Shadow Jester. So here's the thing, me and Jester have been playing a lot of Magic recently, and we play a lot of shit ton of D&D. And we talk about...
So what do I reckon?
Yes, Shadow Hawk and Jester.
Let's just go Hawk.
Because we're
You got
emo.
Shadow on the end, and it sounds like
I'm Shadow Hawk.
I'm Jester.
Fine, you're Jester. I'm Shadow Hawk. It's emo as fuck, whatever. Look. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. So, here's the thing. We're both autistic as fuck, have no girlfriends, lonely as fuck, and are right here.
I don't need a girlfriend. I am a giga chat.
Yeah, whatever. You enjoy those memes on YouTube, those little cartoon memes of guys saying to be a giga chat and rad white and all that shit.
Anyway, so
We waste all our time playing D&D, reading Warhammer books, playing Magic, and you know what? I think
actually, I would like to make a distinction since this is our fourth podcast on the new channel. You can cut this bit out. This is our fourth podcast on the new channel.
yes.
Okay. So since this is all, then you can cut back to this. Since this is all.
Okay, look. We talk about morality all the time because let's face it, D&D, Warhammer.
We talk about morality all the time because we Warhammer, and one of us is an apathetic,
Nihilistic piece of
nihilistic. I have no morality. I'm a giga cat.
shit. Which is ironic considering we're inside a church and we're saying this shit, but whatever. One of the big things we do on this, we talk about all the time is alignment. We talk about character.
You okay if I open?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
We talk about characters. We talk about energies, choices, actions, where this person's a good character or that person's a bad character or they're in between. And I thought let's just talk about it, you know? Let's just talk about some nerdy D&D alignment system, you know?
Okay.
So first off, what would you describe when you hear the concept?
Okay, so now we're going to start talking about alignment.
Yeah,
Alright, so what are we starting with? Which one do you
neutral
want to
good.
talk about first?
Neutral good.
Neutral good? Okay, neutral good is actually interesting to me because neutral good means you just do good. Like, you're just good. I feel like it's very plain to see what neutral good is. Like, you're not chaotic good. You're not lawful good, but you're neutral good. So you don't really follow a law, but you're also not as unhinged as, like, chaotic good.
So you're not a vigilante like Batman or V for Vendetta.
Yeah, I would consider someone like V from Vendetta chaotic good.
Neutral good, I would say, is like someone who has no god or church, but has a basic human
Or, like,
morality.
no ideals.
Han Solo.
No, Han Solo is chaotic good.
Later movies is more neutral good. Rick and
Later
Morty.
movies.
Rick and Morty. Would you call them Morty and Rick as neutral good? Chaotic good?
No.
What's a character you define as neutral good?
A character I would define as neutral good is actually, some may disagree with me on this, but Bilbo Baggins. I consider Bilbo Baggins neutral good.
Why is that?
Because he's not lawful. He doesn't follow the law. He actually is one of the few hobbits. They look at him weird because he's the one guy who actually went on an adventure and left. If he was lawful good, he would have stayed in the town.
He was so lawful good.
I would have never gotten involved with Gandalf the Grey or anyone else.
So neutral good is more of an adventurer, like you're
Neutral good is more you do good, and that's like
without
like you don't have any
gods or religions.
You don't have any gods, religions, or laws
Governments
about how you go about it, but you're also not killing people recklessly. Like,
So
I think, like, for example, I would think the average citizen under a government is neutral good. Like, I like to say that most people would fall into neutral good.
This is like Nazi Germany.
Almost like, no, even then, because most of those people didn't know what they were doing. We're not talking about that. Neutral good is what I think most people, I think it's the most common one. I think most people, without a doubt, are neutral good. Like, throughout all of D&D, you'll see, and people in general, I think the most amount of people are neutral good.
So it's like
So your average citizen.
So it's like a more average day mortal atheist or agnostic.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like a friend of ours we both have.
Oh, you mean like, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, today's subjects. How do you think mutual good plays out gameplay-wise? And what do you think its perks are and what its kinks are?
Mutual good is kind of like, I would say Robin Hood. That's what I would say mutual good is kind of like.
And that's your gameplay.
A lot of people disagree with me and say Robin Hood is chaotic good. I disagree. I think he is neutral good.
How would you play a neutral good character in the role-playing setting?
He would just kind of like break up fights and stop people from killing one another.
Yeah.
And he would pretty much he'd probably be a paladin. Like, I don't see many bards or like rogues being neutral good.
I think paladins would be lawful good if you ask me.
No, not all the time.
Because they're serving gods and churches. And
but gods can also be chaotic.
Right, like Loth or some of the chaos gods.
Being lawful is an aspect in D&D. So.
Yeah. Okay. What are the pros and cons you think of mutual good?
Cons, you won't do what needs to be done to get shit done. You're kind of average in every way. I don't think many neutral good characters. Okay, this is kind of like this is more of like a personal opinion, but I think most neutral good characters are not
very ambitious.
They're not how should I say? They're not smart. Because they limit themselves.
Right.
Now you may say, is it lawful limiting yourself? I actually think less. I think neutral good characters limit themselves a little bit more than lawful characters in a general sense. And that is a hot take.
And we'll get into that in a little bit. So moving on from neutral good, what about chaotic good? What would you describe chaotic good as? Rick and Morty?
Chaotic good I would describe as It's like neutral good, but you are willing to do anything.
For the greater good.
For the greater good, including genocide.
Like the Imperium of Man!
Yeah,
like the Imperium of Man.
and 40K I would consider chaotic good.
You would consider the Imperium of Man.
As a nation, yes.
As chaotic good.
Yes.
The alien-hating, racist, religious as fucking hell, xenophobic, neo-Nazi Germany in space, you would describe them as good, in a sense.
Chaotic good, yes.
Why?
Because
and what drugs are you on?
Because at least from what I know of Warhammer, most combats that have been started... Now, I could be wrong. Please correct me if I am. Most combats, most scourges, most fights in the Imperium of Man do not come from the Imperium of Man invading. At least in the present time.
Yeah.
And if they are invading, they're killing something like, more often than not, they're killing something like chaos or orcs or Tyranids.
The Imperium is known as xenophobic as they are known like, hey, maybe war with the Tau wouldn't be that beneficial, and for the time being, let's just pursue a peace treaty with them for our mutual interests, The Imperium is kind of like that. The Imperium is really complex because, once again, 3 million worlds, thousands of different factions that make up the Imperial hierarchy. There's going to be a lot of divergence, a lot of personal agendas. So yeah, I could, if we're really stretching the term good to mean the...
my opinion of the Imperium of Man is most of the time in Warhammer 40K, they seem to almost always be on the defense. Now, whether that means that they would be on the offense later on, that doesn't matter. I think currently,
they're on the defense,
times, they are chaotic good.
And they are making peace treaties with the Tau.
And at worst, they are chaotic neutral. But they aren't evil. They're not, I wouldn't consider them evil. Because most of what they do is plus the xenophobic nature of the Space Marines and the Imperium of Man is because of orcs, Tyranids,
Dark Eldar, especially the Dark Eldar.
It's not. It didn't come from nothing. It's not like the Imperium of Man had a manifest destiny moment like during the Native American genocides, where they in America, where they just started sweeping to the left and killing.
I mean, during the age of that's actually more accurate.
But in Warhammer 40K, most of them, they were like fucking. They were taken advantage of, killed, fucking made into
Slaves,
whatever
sex
the fuck
slaves.
chaos is around them. I'm thinking about that.
Sex slaves.
They,
Was it called the demunculi or whatever?
but then again, is the Imperial Man considered neutral good? I mean chaotic good. I don't know, but I would argue that they are.
Well, I would say if we're considering you just
Based off
said,
the idea that, see, this is where it gets into different territories. Well, pleasure and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. So I guess it depends on what you believe is good.
If you mean good by keeping the forces of hell at bay, preventing Slanesh from coming in and raping and fucking all you to death. I mean, if you're holding back Slanesh and you're pulling out with the demons of chaos and you're trying to preserve the human race no matter what the cost.
And that's the other thing, though. Like most of it, like I said, they're fighting on the defense. So
I mean, they do nuke their own planets full of their own
yeah, but that's
soldiers.
because of chaos. They don't have any choice. I think we saw the Horus Heresy, what it means to leave that shit alone. They don't have much of an option.
Yeah. I'll give that to you. So what do you think the benefits of a chaotic good playstyle are? Considering that we're just using the Imperium of Man as the all-too like umbrella term for chaotic good.
A chaotic good playstyle would be, instead of in neutral good breaking up the fight, slaughtering the party that you think is in the wrong. That's what I think the chaotic good.
So you think you're righteous and you're fighting for a greater good, but you're not. But you're more than willing to kill whoever it takes to kill to achieve that peace. You're more than willing to kill and sacrifice as many people as it takes.
Yeah, and you're also
achieve a greater
willing
good.
to, and you also don't kill. Something about chaotic good that is also a thing that I think a lot of people miss is people miss the acceptable losses idea for chaotic good. Neutral good doesn't have this as much, but the chaotic good will just straight up say, you know what, let's lead the dragon to the town that has 5,000 people instead of the city with 20,000 people.
Right.
And let's let them, let's let the dragon go over there and feast on them while we fight them. Let's fight them over there and do it with the poor, because there's less people over there.
Okay.
Than fight them with all these fucking people around in the main city. They will actively, this is something I don't think neutral good players do as much. Chaotic good players are a lot more willing to, well, of course, this is all based on the character, but what I think chaotic good is you're more willing to.
It feels like chaotic good is the most individualistic of the alignments.
No, the most individualistic is chaotic neutral, which we'll get to later. By far.
Okay, but Rick and Morty, what would you describe Rick and Morty as?
Why would you talk about them? They're like chaotic neutral.
Yeah, but never mind. I'll say for a different podcast. So moving on to lawful good, and I know you hate lawful good the most.
Yeah, I dislike lawful people in general, but
even lawful evil.
I actually think in most cases lawful evil is actually less evil than neutral evil. So yeah, I think I actually like lawful evil more than lawful good.
Okay, please explore and explain your madness.
Okay, so my idea is that lawful evil is more like, okay, here's an example. Okay, lawful good in the eyes of the people was Germany, was the Nazis, and lawful evil was Stalin. Okay. Stalin killed all the people. I'm not as big of a history buff as some of my friends, but from what I've been told, Stalin killed a lot of the people that opposed him because he had no choice.
Shit ton more people.
And because he needed to keep them in line, to keep the people in the nation together, and he did a lot of lawful evil things. But the thing is, if you existed under Stalin's rule, and you just...
You were a slave, though. You were a slave to the Soviet
Yes, but you were still alive, and you still got fed.
You realize, okay, you're not saying you like Stalin. You're like saying compare the two evils.
Yes, Stalin is way better, by far.
If we're choosing between...
Because not to mention, he was trying to defend his own people.
If we're choosing
is what I consider lawful evil. I actually consider... This is going to be a real interesting take for the podcast. I consider Hitler lawful good because of what he believed. He believed himself to be lawful good. Please do remember.
Or the Crusades.
Stalin knew what he was doing was wrong, but he did it anyway because it was necessary.
Okay, so we get some level grade heresy there, bud. speaking some level grade heresy thing will come.
That would be my comparison though. I think that a lot of the people that are lawful good end up killing a lot more than even chaotic neutral, chaotic good people. Now there can be lawful. Now please do mention that I think there are two different types of lawful good, lawful neutral, and lawful evil. Lawful evil is actually kind of more its own thing, but there are two types of lawful neutral. Actually, no, never mind. There's two types of lawful good. I'm fucking retarded. Lawful good, there's one type where it says, I believe the government, and I believe what the government is doing for it, and I will follow the laws and agree with the government, and I will consistently hunt down people that the government views as its enemies and keep order and peace in my town and my country. Then there's lawful good, kind of like Warnoy Kenshin, if you know who that is, or like Miyamoto Musashi and like Vegapunk.
I'm not that much of a weeb.
It's not even weeb shit, it's fucking the tails and the fucking badass ones for me. But you can have lawful good, where you believe your own ideals to be lost. So like as an example, don't kill unless necessary.
Yeah.
Which some would say that's chaotic, but I don't think that's chaotic. Chaotic good is kill you one way.
Now I would say the Imperium would fall under lawful good because, religious nature, blind obedience to the Emperor.
So you think the Imperium is lawful good and not chaotic?
I mean, it depends. I mean, I think Inquisition's definitely chaotic good. But we're talking about the cult of the Emperor, or we're talking about the cult of Sigmar, or any fantasy setting where there's a massive, giant, Dark Ages Catholic Church-inspired religion that controls the entire world, like the Chantry from Dragon Age, or whatever. Whenever there's some giant monotheistic or slightly theistic religion in a fantasy world, this religion that controls the government, controls every aspect of people's lives, they think they're doing good, but they hunt down and kill anyone they think is different than them. Kill the heretics, kill the witch, kill the demon, kill the mutant, kill the alien.
Yes, but again, I will tell you that stuff is all the common violence and chaos. That's why they have laws because they don't want to. Most of what they do is because of what has been done to them.
Right.
Whether that makes it good or not, that's up to your discretion. But
yeah, I think that. Well, another thing I would say about the lawful good, I was spending a lot of time reading fantasy books, and Warhammer Fantasy, which is not nearly as fucked up and dark as Warhammer 40k. There's the Empire Man, which is like the Holy Roman Empire, and they're ruled by a Catholic Church-like organization that keeps the Empire together. And they don't kill non-humans just for being non-humans, nice. But they do witch burnings, they do book burnings, and they try and control every aspect of the average citizens' lives.
yes, but that's because of the chaos gods. If you had a god that was consistently watching you at every single instant for the minute a chance to take over one of your people, and then start a cult, and then start taking over more of your people, and then taking over your most trusted soldiers, all in a quest to kill what is essentially the god who saved your race. Yeah, you'd be a little bit fucking genocidal against anyone who had a lick of that shit too. The Chaos Gods are fucking pure evil, dude.
Well, then again, the argument is the Chaos Gods really evil, or are they just nature? Are they just
nature evil?
Yeah, good point. Okay, so when it comes to D&D...
Hold on, don't change the subject, is it?
No, I don't think it is. Not inherently.
Okay.
Not inherently.
So there you go then.
I think it's...
When a tsunami or a disease starts killing people, is that inherently evil, or is that just how things work out?
I don't know.
And in that case, is humans a force of nature? So therefore, when humans kill other humans or rape or pillage or whatever the fuck, is it just a force of nature? Or is it different because we're a higher level thinking? What makes something good or bad?
What drugs are you on?
I don't know. Maybe some actual fucking intelligence.
Well, what do you usually get in your intelligence score on D&D?
So, my intelligence score? It's actually usually not that high because I play boards.
So, in closing, what do you think is the worst alignment of the three goods? What do you think is the worst? And what one do you like to play as, if you are going to be good?
I think chaotic good is my favorite because chaotic neutral is my favorite alignment. But I think I actually think neutral good is the most boring. I would rather play a lawful good character with his own code than play a neutral good.
No, can you play lawful good and not be boring and a terrible person?
Yes.
You can play lawful good and still be fun.
Yes, because you can live by your own laws. You can live by your own code of how you do things.
And it can depend how far you take your religion / creed, you know? It depends how far you take your religion.
Well, like fucking the whole idea of good and like of that shit is just that good is just like you put other people's needs before your own.
Yeah.
Chaos neutral is like you do a little bit of both, and then evil is like you put your own needs before other people's needs.
Right.
So, I mean, if you consider really evil is based on selfishness. So if you consider selfishness evil.
It might depends on the dosage. Depends how far you take it.
Well, do you consider selfishness as a trait evil? Yes or no?
That's a hard question. If I had to say,
yes or no? Come on.
I would say there's a difference between selfishness and looking out for yourself. But if we're using selfishness,
if we're talking about selfishness evil, yes or no?
Hard for me to say.
If you're always out for yourself.
Yes, I would say that's.
So that's what selfishness means.
If you're always out for yourself and you are putting yourself above everyone's
then by
needs
that
always.
logic, are all humans naturally evil? Because everybody's selfish. So
it depends how far you take it. It depends how far you take it.
No. You said selfishness is a trait.
Not. Is what I'm trying to say is
no, you're not understanding.
No.
You're trying to dance around and not answer the question.
I know what you're trying to say. Selfishness. Okay, there's a difference between selfishness and looking out after yourself once in a while. If you're looking after yourself and you're putting your own interests ahead, there's a time when you need to focus on yourself. There's a time when you don't need to focus on yourself. So, I would say, if you're putting yourself above others all the time and care only about yourself without ever caring about anyone else, then I would call it bad. But if you're like if you're in a relationship, you need time for yourself, or you're
okay, but altruism. What we describe altruism now. At least in D&D alignment, it's a little bit more nuanced. Well, it's also nuanced in D&D, but
yeah.
What you consider good and evil. If selfishness equals to selfless, okay? Those are the two monopoles of good and evil. Whether you realize it or not, all good acts and all evil acts can be wind down into selfless or selfish.
Right.
So, if you think selfishness as an inherent trait is evil, then all humans are basically evil.
Right.
Naturally. Unless they do something to prove themselves otherwise. So, in that way, humans need to prove themselves to be good. Humans are not good by birth.
I can agree with that.
Because babies are extremely selfish.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
So...
# pro-choice.
Blah. Anyway.
Well, kinda. It depends on the circumstance. But,
# pro-choice.
Alright. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for the podcast.
Next episode, I should say, we will be talking about neutral alignments and the 3 neutrals. And let me tell you, my most interesting to me, it will be to talk about neutral lawful, because I think neutral lawful is actually one of the cooler alignments you can play.
Thanks for joining the Shadow Zone, folks. Till next time, stay sane. You can follow us on Twitch at ShadowLHawk2302, the Wolf Gamer Pack Society on Facebook, Shadow Zone on YouTube, and my Twitch channel. And we'll be doing Magic Let's Plays like every other week. We'll be doing podcasts. And
we will also, since it's the first day, I'd also like to tell you folks that we will be uploading Magic matches to the channel. Hopefully every week. Hopefully every week there will be at least one Magic match that you can watch.
And you can, and I'll periodically be posting some of my Twitch footage from Elder Scrolls Online just for shits and giggles and just keep you entertained. And and this July, we're going to fucking Bristol.
So we'll have some stuff on the Renaissance fair to show you guys, so that'll be it.
Alright, till next time folks, stay sane.
Adu immortalis, libris ponteo nex, adve hoc mort animadvertor, operor non timeo, zalus est proculmano,